I feel that chill, smell that fresh cut grass. I'm back in my helmet, cleats and shoulder pads. Standing in the huddle, listening to the call. Fans going crazy for the boys of fall.
All right, let's get the Boys of Fall started off, guys. As you can see, I have decided to change it up a little bit. I have the Lee Corso Sooner hat on this week. I'm going to start doing it like this. It's not because I want to be like Lee Corso or original or anything. I just think it's pretty cool that he does it, so I'm going to do it. When I do my picks. Now, the one thing you have to know about my picks are I try to keep it regional as far as Big 12 is concerned. And when it comes to the national spotlights, I do the games that we're gonna get in Oklahoma City so that we can watch them, and that those are what kind of keep us entertained. Those are the games that I pick. Those are the games that I watch. Those are the games that I pay attention to. I'll tell you the time and the channel that the game's on. And the important thing that you need to realize with the time part is that these are centrally located times. I go on the Cox station that I have, my little Cox box, and I go through and I see what games are being played at what time, not necessarily according to the ESPN times, but according to what my box says. So there is that going on. The Big 12 games this week, they're all Saturday games. And it starts off with the newest member to the top 25. Welcome back, Baylor Bears. They are at West Virginia on FX. That's the 11 a.m. game on FX. Baylor at West Virginia. I like West Virginia in this game. Pat, those guys at home, Geno Smith and those guys, you cannot stop that beast unless you're probably on the road. And even if you're on the road, it's going to take a lunch pail kind of bowl game. Kind of like what you saw with Kansas State and my Sooners last week. Proficient game on the road. But at home, I do not see West Virginia losing. So I have West Virginia winning that one for the Big 12. Staying in Big 12 competitions, Texas Tech looks to, on Fox College Sports at 6 o'clock, Texas Tech looks to get back at Iowa State for knocking them off last year in Lubbock, that reigning game after they beat OU. Texas Tech did. This is the revenge game. It comes in Ames against a pretty good defense, probably in my opinion. The defensive ranks of the Big 12 look like this: Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas State, Iowa State, and Oklahoma. So to go into Ames and win, that's hard to do also. I don't see that happening. Texas Tech loses this one in Ames. Now, if the game were in Lubbock, I might like it differently, but since it's in Ames, I like the home team. Texas Christian at Southern Methodists, Fox Sports Net, 6 p.m. This is because, of course, earlier they met Kansas in a regular conference game, so this is really the non-conference finale for the Frogs, and they're at SMU, Garrett Gilbert and company. I like TCU in this ball game. They're not going to have a lot of SMU fans there. They might have some. They might surprise me and shock me on Fox Sports. But I really think that as many SMU fans are going to be there, there's going to be quite a bit of TCU fans in there. From about 15 to 20 minutes up the road in Fort Worth, I see that going on. And I see TCU handing SMU another loss. And then on Fox National at 6:50, 7 p.m.-ish, number 12, Texas, at Oklahoma State. the Battle of the Orange. They call it the hate series. This is the hate series for OU fans. Who do you hate more, Texas or OSU? Now, Texas has been aiming for this bowl game. If OSU hadn't beaten them the last 2 years, I would think, in my opinion, the Texas would kind of be overlooking this ball game and getting ready for West Virginia next week. But in the scenario that Oklahoma State has beaten them in Austin the last 2 years, I see Texas somehow, some way winning this game. Nothing to do with the fact that they're either going to have a redshirt freshman or true freshman quarterback behind center for OSU going up against the beast that is the Texas defense. And that being that, I do not like to give Texas credit unless they really deserve it. And for this defense, they really do deserve it. National Spotlight. It all starts on Thursday night with the National Spotlight as 8th-ranked Stanford goes at Washington, 8 p.m. ESPN. This is a game that I kind of like. I kind of like Stanford. They're coming off their high victory over USC. They kind of had a week to smell the roses, if you will. Rose Bowl champs. But quite honestly, this is time for them to get back on track, and I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to do it. Now, I like the freshman quarterback that Washington has, but I think that Stanford is going to take 23 hours later, Friday night, Hawaii at Brigham Young, 7 p.m. ESPN. Brigham Young is one of those teams that I think could be undefeated, and they're going to stay undefeated until that Notre Dame game. Meaning that, yes, BYU wins this game. I don't think that Hawaii's been great since June Jones left, and I don't see it happening until they get another new coach. So, with that being said, also, I like Brigham Young. Moving to the Saturday slates that are going to be here. Like I said, these are games that are going to be here regionally in Oklahoma City. I don't know about Tulsa. Maybe even in Tulsa. I know here in OKC, Norman-ish. So there is that going on. With that being said, Arkansas. The University of Arkansas is at our old buddy from University of Oklahoma, Kevin Sumlin, and Texas A&M Aggies. That game will be on KSPI/SEC network. I like the Aggies in this game. I think that Arkansas, they're kind of licking their wounds right now. 52-0 loss to Alabama. A loss to Louisiana Monroe. On the road in Kyle Field, another hostile environment. Not a good scenario for Arkansas. If I have any Arkansas fans that watch my YouTube casts, I'm sorry. But I just see you guys losing again. Speaking of former Big 12 teams, the Missouri Tigers are at Central Florida on Fox Sports Net. Finally, a win for Missouri. They're going to get a win here. I see it through my prognosticational Sooner Schooner head. Now, obviously, this isn't regular Florida, so it's really not going to count for much. But I see them doing it, getting some confidence on the road. Is Missouri. On the U, ESPNU that is, looks like the North Carolina State Wolf Pack will be at Miami. I am torn here. I'm going to take North Carolina State because I like that quarterback that they have at NC State a lot. a whole lot. He's a good quarterback. He gave Tennessee, with one loss, gave them a fight till the end that first opening weekend. So, which is more than can say for what Miami did when they had to step into non-conference action. Now, given we didn't beat that team either in Oklahoma, but at least we gave them a bang for their buck. At least that game that we had last weekend against Kansas State, at least that game, at least the Oklahoma fans got what they paid for. A pretty good ball game. The ball game that Kansas State and Miami had, that wasn't even a good bowl game. That was a I don't even know what that was. Miami wasn't ready. And they're not going to be ready against NC State. Penn State at Illinois on ESPN Original. This game, I see it going to Illinois. I really think that Penn State, with losing of Justin Brown, with losing the kid to USC, with these guys leaving, the reserve quarterback leaving for LSU, the kicker leaving for the University of Texas. By the way, that guy out of Texas still not going to play in that Fox National game. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh because of the injury, but this guy left because he wanted to play big-time college football, and he still hasn't played big-time college football. Back to the game itself, though, on ESPN at 11 o'clock. Penn State, Illinois. I like Illinois. I just think that they're just going to win this ball game. The final 11 a.m. game, ESPN Deuce, the 2, Minnesota at Iowa. If I had to pick a game here, I'd like Minnesota because Iowa lost their quarterback last year. They lost a heartbreaker to Iowa State earlier in the year. They don't have a true running back. They're struggling. They don't have their number one receiver from last year. They're struggling here, and they're going to struggle even more coming in to that game. The noon games, the noon games. 12:30 games, by the way. 2:30. I am way off my game here. 2:30 p.m. games. Nationally on ABC. You guys are going to have The Ohio State University at Michigan State University. This game, I like Ohio State. I really think that Braxton Miller is really learning how to win in this offense. He's learning to run this offense the way that Urban likes to play it. And I'm just going to say that, I think that they're just going to run away with it. Defensively, they're going to play well for Urban Meyer because of the way that he coaches his defensive players. Coached them well at Florida. Utah coached them up well. So, another big win for Urban, this time on the road at Michigan State. Tennessee at 5th-ranked Georgia on CBS, the SEC national game. The SEC national game here, I think it's going to go to Georgia. And I'll tell you why. Remember a couple of weekends ago, and you saw the same Georgia team on the road at Missouri. They lost. Georgia won that game. But a lot of people felt like Missouri was going to win. And it ended up costing them because they used up all their energy, all their momentum, all their swag, game day atmosphere, all of it in that one game. And they came out the next week against Arizona State and lost. Did Missouri. Again. I really think Tennessee's going to go through the same thing. They put all their money. And as much as I love the guy that does my intro, Kenny Chesney, Boys of Fall, as much as I love that guy, I think that he is Tennessee Volunteers. Put all their energy, all their composure into beating Florida. And when it didn't happen, by the way, they had to leave the fourth quarter. But when it didn't happen, pop goes the balloon. Now, can Tennessee bounce back on the road against the 5th-ranked Georgia team? I do not think that they can. They might surprise me, but maybe not. Fox Sports Net regional game here in the Southwest will be Houston at Rice. This is confusing for me. Rice comes in, they step up their bowl game, and they beat a pretty good Big 12 team in Kansas. It's not like they beat Kansas State or Oklahoma or Texas, but they did beat a Big 12 team. Houston comes out of conference, and they lose to Texas State. I'm sorry, Texas State. Regular Texas State. So, if I had to pick a game here, it's a pick'em game. So I picked the home team. But there's not really a home team here, is there? Houston and Rice. Which, boom, there you go again. So if you're going to make me twist my arm a third time, I'm going to pick Houston. I really think that they're going to come out and they're going to throw the ball, and Rice isn't going to know what hit them. Remember, Kansas plays the same way, and Kansas almost won that bowl game. Vatek at Cincinnati, ESPNU from Bengals Stadium. I like Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is mad about the way that Clemson and Florida State is getting all the pub in the ACC, and they're not getting any love, and they've done what they had to do. They started out 1-0 in the league by beating Georgia Tech. So, I think that they're going to rally the troops, get it done, and head back to Virginia with a win. Good luck to them on that. Speaking of Clemson, University of Clemson, is at Boston College on the ESPN2 network. I think that Brent Venables and Clemson get this thing done. They're not happy about the way that they're obviously not going to be happy with the way that they played against Florida State, but they did play good enough to win. So, at least on offense. And I really am not impressed with the Boston College defense. So, therefore, they're going to run it on them again. There's that answer to that. Arizona State at Cal Berkeley is on at 3 o'clock on the FX network. I like Cal Berkeley. Not that I don't like Arizona State. I like what Arizona State's done. But remember, Cal Berkeley took Ohio State on the road at Ohio State, took them to the fourth quarter, and could have won that game if not for a couple of misfits here and there, miscues, misgoes, misthrows. They fixed those up at home, by the way, against Arizona State. Next game will be a team that Oklahoma beat last year, and the team that Clemson and Brent Venables beat, 5 o'clock, or didn't beat last year. First time Brent Venables didn't beat Florida State. That game's on at 5 o'clock on ESPN. The battle for Florida State. At the Bulls of South Florida. I like the Seminole chop stop. I like them here. Florida State, E.J. Manuel. They played so much attention to that Clemson game, and they won it. So now they're back on the national scene. And they're not going to let some team from the Big East come and run their party. Now, with them being at home with South Florida, I wouldn't be surprised if they won. But I like Florida State in this matchup. Moving right along. SEC game on ESPN2, 6 o'clock p.m. South Carolina at Kentucky. 6th-ranked South Carolina at Kentucky. I like South Carolina in this game. South Carolina is basically not being very much talked about in the SEC. But I like Steve Spurrier. Spurrier's a good coach. He's going to lead this team. Everybody's talking about LSU, Alabama. But South Carolina is right there with them, and they're going to prove that to Kentucky when they hit them on the road, in the mouth, on the road, at the SEC in SEC country against Kentucky. Never easy to win in SEC country. 6:30 p.m. on the ESPNU. Speaking of not easy to win in SEC country, Towson is going to learn that lesson. Towson. TOWNSON at LSU on ESPNU at 6:30. LSU is going to blow the doors off of Townsend. It's not even going to be funny. I don't even know why I'm picking this game. Probably only because it's on the ESPNU family of networks that we have here in Oklahoma City. That is a ridiculous game to have on national television. It's ridiculous. This one, not so ridiculous. Wisconsin. Struggling Wisconsin. The Badgers. They are at 22nd ranked Nebraska on ABC. And all I have to say here is I believe that they're back. The black shirts are back. My buddy, our friend from the University of Oklahoma, Bo Pelini, has brought in the black shirts back to the University of Nebraska. They've got a Heisman Trophy winning, capable running back, Burkhead. They got a quarterback to get him the ball. They can run the option with this guy. They can spread it around a little bit with
this guy, Taylor. They know how to win, and they're going to win. In the largest city in Nebraska when everybody gets together in Lincoln.
7 p.m. on ABC is that game. Also 7 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. 19th ranked Big East favorite Louisville is at Southern Mississippi. I like 19th ranked Louisville in this bowl game. They are ranked for a reason. They're in the Big East for a reason. I really think that they're going to win the Big East. There's not going to be anybody to contend with Louisville. So, if they want a chance at the national championship, they're going to have to do what they do, win their non-conference games, and they will beat Southern Mississippi. 8:15 p.m., ESPN. Just up the road from Southern Miss will be Ole Miss. And they have a tough road test to open their SEC game on ESPN at 8:15 at Alabama. The other Crimson. This thing is going to get nasty. They played an improved Texas team, did Ole Miss. And Texas blew the door off of them. At Ole Miss, guaranteed. But Texas blew the door off. I really don't think Texas is that good. And they had Texas coming to blow them off. They go into the number one team, Alabama. With that defense, not even going to be a ball game, boys. I'll take Alabama. In fact, I'll do this. I'll take Alabama's backups in this game. And finally, 9:30 p.m. ESPN Deuce, another old friend of OU, Oregon, will play our old buddy Mike Leach and Washington State at Washington State. There will be some scoring by Oregon in this game. This rivalry, by the end of it all, might be 60-60, 62-62, and we have one of those ball games like we saw a couple years ago with Arkansas and Ole Miss when they had like 18 different overtimes. That might be what this game is going to look like in the near future. But prognosticational hat on,
Washington State is not there yet. Oregon wins this ball game pretty. Well, that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. There's going to be no post game because, for OU at least, they tough this week to lick their wounds as they get ready for Texas Tech next week. Follow me on Twitter, SoonerFan. Find me on Facebook, Harry James Taylor, and look for me here. 1982 Boomer Sooner. I love you guys for watching. Thanks. Peace out.
Didn't stand out in that club. Took every ounce of hard love. Get the way those gangsters is down the hall. Kings of the school where the boys are fall. Well,